Go ahead. Happy to see a 9 on 10. Beautiful. Right. Where's everybody else? How are you doing? To see that you are alive and kicking, give me some feedback. All right. Good to see you 7 on 10 and 9 on 10 and all of that. All right. Welcome everybody to our September edition of Morning School. And I believe that you will experience a major shift and you will be blessed. All right. In this edition of the Morning School, I want us to look at a very important topic. We'll be talking on the business side of every profession. So if there is somebody here that you have been wondering how I love my profession, but how can I move this profession into a business entity, then this is for you. Or you have certain skill sets in a particular area and you have been wondering, how do I turn this skill set in this profession into a business entity? Then this particular morning school is definitely for you. So, and it will increase your chances of wealth creation, right? So if you are attentive and you are ready to learn something different, then this is for you. All right, you're welcome. If this is your first time of being part of Peak Performance Academy, you're welcome. We have been doing morning school like this. I think this is almost 5 years. So the OGs, those who have been in this academy for some time, they must have experienced morning school a couple of times. And we pick a few days in some months and we met like this to do some coaching and some training for from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. or sometimes 6 a.m. Then the idea started with the objective of pushing people beyond their comfort zone and to ensure, productivity and to challenge people to break out from their comfort zone, from the same pattern of living. And of course, we have always had incredible testimonies from people who participate in morning school. And in each morning school, we pick out a topic to focus on to teach the members or the participants of the morning school around key things that they should know. So in this edition of the morning school, I want us to look at the business side of every profession. How can you convert or how can you move from just being, let's say, an employee into running an institution within the same, profession that you are currently operating in, right? And there is a framework, there is a process that if you follow, is going to help you. And this particular topic of the business side of every profession, it is something I have studied for so long, for a couple of years.
Recording in progress.
It is something I have studied for a couple of years, and I have worked with a good number of professionals and experts across different industries to help them to transition from just being employees to being, successful business owners in the same in your profession or within the same industry. And I believe that if you follow the things I will teach you and show you, you will be able to experience that same transition if you want to. Or if you are following this and you already are trying, maybe let's say you run a side hustle, you run a passive income business within the profession that you have been an employee in, it will also help you. Or if you already run a small business within your profession, let's say, for example, you studied nursing and now you are running a small clinic, right? It will help you to scale and to do better in what you're doing. So it doesn't matter where you are, you will learn what will help you greatly to be able to build incredible wealth opportunities in what you're doing. And this is one of those things that if you're serious about wealth creation, you need to understand how it works. Okay? Because, like I always say, I don't know why, but many people think that to be wealthy, you can guess work your way through it. You can try a few things with guesswork and get it right, but it doesn't work like that. That is why when you study the business of lottery, you understand that very few people get to win lottery, right, out of guesswork, and very few people win it and they stay wealthy. Research says that 90% of those who win lottery end up broke after 7 years, or I think that is the number of years. Why? Because they did not build their way up. So when they got the money, they did not know how to maintain that particular amount of money, right? For example, after high school, I used to work in a cyber cafe. At that time in Bamenda, there was a lot, at that time, scamming was very, very at the peak at that time. And many scammers were making a good number of millions, right? I know many of them that used to make a good number of millions working in the cyber cafe where I used to work. And majority of them today are broke, especially those that I know closely or I became close to, right? Why? Because they they understood the path that would get them the money, but they did not understand the wealth creation principles or how to build wealth the right way. Okay, so the things I will also share with us in this edition of the morning school will help you to be a wealth creator with certainty. Okay, like I always say, there is a body of knowledge that when you acquire, there is a body of expertise that when you develop, you don't doubt if you are going to make money in your life. You don't doubt it. If you're in a place where you're still wondering, will I succeed? I will not succeed, and all of that, especially financially, what is also happening to you is that you don't yet possess the kind of mindset, the kind of knowledge, the kind of understanding and wisdom and industry intelligence, economic intelligence, national intelligence, and what have you to be able to build wealth. But there are some things that when you know, you don't doubt it. You now begin to focus on execution and give yourself time, right? Because endurance or patient endurance is a principle in wealth creation. Okay, so it's important to understand these things. So today, in this first session of the morning school, we're looking at the business side of every profession, or how can you transition from salary to wealth creation. So I said, this is a topic that I've been doing a lot of studies and research and practice around for a few years. And I have a lot that I can share. I can teach on this topic for months, trust me, right? But I'll try to give you the key things that if you can apply from this very moment, you will get the result that can contribute enormously to your wealth creation journey. Now, I always fondly say that every profession, the profession you are in, every profession carries two dimensions. Now, before I continue, in the chat box, if you are a salary worker full-time, write salary. If you are a salary worker and you have passive income, write salary slash passive income. If you run a business, write business. Let me know the audience here. Please go ahead, do that quickly. Let me know the audience here. If your salary, on the salary, not side income yet, write salary. If you're salary with side income or business, write business, salary and business. If you're already in business, write business. Okay. All right, good. That will help me to understand how to project or present my thoughts in a practical way that will help everybody. All right. So I always say that every profession carries two dimensions, right? The first dimension of every profession is what you can call the service dimension, right? This is where you earn wages through employment. Now, the second dimension of every profession is what I call the business dimension of that profession, which creates, this is where if you are going to create wealth, you need to begin to operate. So, under the business dimension, you need to understand things like how to create value at a bigger scale, how to organize that value, how to own the value, how to multiply the value within that same profession, right? Now, unfortunately, as a result of our education system, the mindset and the cognitive ability of many people, they have been trained or raised to see their profession as a way to earn a living only, right? So many people remain in that first dimension all their lives. Many people, they remain in that first dimension, that service dimension where they get paid as employees and they stay there forever, right? Most people do that. More than 80%, they get to do that. So many remain in the first dimension all their lives, even though there is the second dimension that exists within the same profession. So, due to mindsetting, due to you know knowledge capabilities or knowledge abilities, few people recognize that every profession also has a business side of that profession, and it is the dimension of the profession that transform labor into ownership and wages into wealth. So, if you are going to be able to move from labor to ownership, from wages to wealth creation, you need to understand the business dimension of your profession. You get a point? So, when you study things, you understand that the difference between an employee and an owner is not the profession, right? The difference between an employee and an owner is not the profession itself, but it is the perspective and the systems that the employee applies and the owner applies. You see, so when you understand that the profession you are in has a business ecosystem, just this simple understanding changes a lot. And many people don't understand this. As it may look very basic as I'm saying it, but many people don't understand it, right? So people can live and grow old and even die without ever understanding that, hey, without having this perspective that there is a business ecosystem of the profession that I am in. And just this simple perspective that, oh, there is a business ecosystem of my profession, it will push you to study it, study the ecosystem. Then you position yourself inside the ecosystem and begin to create wealth. So every career holds two paths, right? There are two paths to every career. What you can, like I said, either the profession path or the business path or what you can call the labor path, right? And the ownership path. Why? Because every billionaire is an owner. Even billionaire CEOs, they are billionaire CEOs because they own a stake in the business. So in every profession, like in your profession right now, there is the labor path, and many people are in the labor path. And then there is the ownership path. So if you are going to transition from salary to wealth creation, you also need to begin to understand how do I transition from the labor path into the ownership path. You see, and of course, as we already know, the first path provides income, and the second path creates wealth. So, if you want to get just income once a month, or like in developed countries where they pay twice a month, right? You stay on the labor path. If you want to create wealth, you need to stay on the ownership path and begin to study it. So, having the perspective that employment rewards my hours, but ownership rewards my ability to be able to create value at a different level and multiply results. When you see it this way, you begin to push yourself at that level. So, what do I need to start doing that will enable people, the society, institutions, individuals to reward me not based on hours, but to reward me based on the results I can create? You see that? So, like I said, when you have the labor path mindset, you will enjoy the dimension of your profession that pays you once a month, right? But when you transition to the business side of your profession, you can enjoy the benefit of being paid many times, depending on how you create value and deliver the value. Now, we are in a dispensation where the future, the present, and the future, in terms of wealth creation, we're in a dispensation where the present and the future belongs to the professionals who can be able to build enterprises out of their profession, not just those who can keep their jobs. That's why the gig economy is growing very fast. So, if in terms of wealth creation, the present and the future belongs to an employee who can either you transition to enterprise fully, or if you are still a full-time employee, you understand how being a full-time employee, there are things you do at the enterprise level within your profession that can enable you to create more wealth. So, if in terms of wealth creation in the present and in the future, this is a body of knowledge and ability that you have to pay the price to understand. You have to pay the price to understand. So, if you're an employee here, one question you should be asking is, how can my skill become an enterprise, not just labor? It's a very important question to ask and a very important path to seek the answers. This skill that I have, how can it become an enterprise, not just labor? You see, if you think in this direction, do research in that direction, I guarantee you, you will end with a good system that can make you money if you don't give up. You see, the challenge is that the hardest job for many people is the thinking job, the research job, and the value creation job. These three things, more than 80% of the human race, they are lazy to do it. Very lazy to do it. The thinking job, the research job, or the research and study job, and then the value creation job. 80% of the human race, they are lazy to do it. You see, for example, I run a few academies where I train different things, like 7 different training institutions, and most of them run online. And I see this every day. When I launch a training program, many people apply and they pay. But towards the end, let's say it's a 30 days training program. Towards the end, not up to 50%, it's even too much, not up to 30% finish it. You see, so majority of the human race is very lazy to commit to the path where they need to think, research, study, and then create. And that's why the society is like this, right? A pyramid. Crowded at the bottom with poor people, average people, limited people, what have you. Then few at the top. The elite at the top, very few. Why? Because very few people push it till the end. They push it to the end. Like a lady was talking to me a few, 3 days ago, and I told her, I said, look, if you don't have the ability to stay on this path for at least 7 years, you have no right to complain. You have no right to complain because that's the average number if you study across industries. Years ago, 50, 100 years ago, it was even longer. Many people break through after 10 years, 15 years. In our dispensation, it's shorter because of there's so many resources. You see, so asking the question, how can my skill become an enterprise and not just level is very important. But you see, to answer that question will take a lot from you in terms of sacrifice. But unfortunately, as I said, that is a sacrifice many are not ready to pay. If I do a research now in the group here and I ask many of you, let's just take the most basic, reading a book consistently in your industry. Like how many of you have been able to pay the price to grow in what I like to call industry intelligence or economic intelligence in your industry? And the only way to be good at that is to study the materials in your industry. If you have been able to be committed to that, 80% and above from January to this month so far, type yes in the chat box. If you know that you have been terrible, type repent in the chat box. Don't lie, right? Right? Don't lie. Tell me. Go ahead. Give me some feedback. You see, I'm talking to you guys. So to be able to, I need you guys to give me feedback so that I know that we are together here. It's 4 a.m. so that some people are not sleeping. All right. I need more feedback here on Zoom. Give me more feedback. Okay. Right. So for those who have participated, you see that majority, right, are not have not paid the price to do that. And I know that life gets to happen, right? Situations get to happen. But you see, one thing I've learned about life is that life will keep on happening. And the only secret to reduce how life happens to you is to pay the price to do certain things when life is happening so you can build wealth and beat life at its game. For example, let's say you recently got a child. Let's say as a lady, right? Because of the baby, you will not have the ability to study or to do things at the level that you would like to do. It can get overwhelming. However, if you decide to wear mental toughness, because it's a decision, you can decide to be mentally tough and to have the strong will to keep going forward. And you decide, I know what, even though I have a baby, there are still things that are important for my wealth creation journey. And I will pay the price to keep doing those things, even the baby comes. I will enjoy this process. It's, it's a mindset positioning and a heart posture. You see, anxiety and depression and sadness, things like that, they only have a foothold in your life when you decide to give permission for that. They don't rule you. You're in charge, right? And you decide to keep doing that, you will end up in a place where you can create wealth and be able to afford a nanny or afford a PA or a secretary. You see, so you start beating life at its game because you're able to create wealth and buy more time or buy more resources in terms of either human resources or technology resources and keep doing more at the highest level, right? So why am I giving this example? Because many people give you good reasons why they cannot do this or do that because life happened and this happened and this happened. So I understand. But you see, life will keep on happening. It will never stop. The only way to beat life at its game is that when it happens, there are some things that you don't compromise because you want to rise at the level that you are you are flying or soaring like an eagle above certain things when they repeat themselves. You get the perspective. That's how to win at certain things in life. And it takes a lot of strength, mentally, the right heart posture, the right strong will to be able to do that. Okay. So when you ask the question, how can my skill become an enterprise and not just labor? It changes everything. Okay. So there is a framework that I'm going to teach us between today and tomorrow. Hopefully, I can cover what I have in mind. That if anybody follows, you will be able to experience that transition. Whether you are fully right now a full-time employee, or you are full-time and you have a side hustle, or you have started something small and you want to scale, or you are growing and you're making a few millions right now and you want to take it to a whole new level. This is going to help you, right? Now, the first element of this framework to transition is the mindset shift. And this is very important. But in what direction? There are around 6 critical shifts that you need to experience if this will work for you. Because, like I said, every profession has 2 dimensions. The service dimensions, where you provide the service and they pay you a salary. Then the business dimension, where you understand the business of the profession and you create wealth at a whole new level and you're able to make a lot of money and, of course, impact and influence at the same time. So, to step into the business side of your profession as a professional, as an expert, it is critical to first change how you think about 3 things. It is important to change how you think about 3 things. Number one, how you think about work. Number two, how you think about the value that you create. Number three, how you think about the industry you are in. If you have the wrong mindset or you are ignorant about work, value creation, and the industry you are in as a professional, you will spend years being a paid professional. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want more money, right, and want to create more impact, more influence, maybe travel the world, these are things you just have to understand and know how it works, right? So the first shift on the mindset shift is, I spoke about it briefly, but I will expand on it right now, is the shift from worker to owner. The shift from worker to owner. There are many people that, I'm telling you, they can work for years and they have never thought about being an owner. They are so, again, like I said, because of culture, society, education structure, we only think on working and getting paid a money salary. Again, nothing wrong with that. Some people are comfortable with that. Some people don't want the headaches, the troubles, the worries of being an owner. But if you are serious about wealth creation, this is the game you have to play, right? So the first mindset shift is, how can you train your mind in a way that when you get anywhere, like I was talking to one of my mentees who recently moved to North America, and I was telling him, I said, I challenged him that in your first 3 years, don't allow the immigrant system to enter you. As you're working, be thinking in terms of honor. What can I own in this industry or in this large economy that I am part of? It's very important, very, very important. So when you're able to push yourself to stop seeing yourself only as someone that they can pay for hours, it will change how you even see your own self. See, there are many people that they have never seen themselves beyond, you know, the number of hours that they are being paid at their job site. Can you be able to start seeing yourself as a potential custodian of an enterprise within the industry that you are in? Can you see it? Can you see it? I am not just somebody that companies can toast through and fro, sack and employ the way they want. But I am a potential custodian, I'm a potential owner of an enterprise within this same industry or in this nation. Because if that mindset is not there, you can never create it. You see, because this ownership mindset, or when you experience the shift from worker to owner, you will start paying the price to think in terms of the systems, not just in terms of how much they pay me per hour. Because when you start thinking as an owner, you start asking questions like, how can I design repeatable value and delivery structures for that value? You start thinking at that level because any billionaire or multimillionaire that you celebrate and honor, what makes them incredible is that they have been able to design a repeatable value delivery structure. You see, for example, let's say the Zoom we're using, or if you're using Facebook or Instagram or whatever, what makes these guys billionaires is that they have been able to design a repeatable value delivery structure. And the more you are consuming that the value and the structure, the more they're making money. You see, because somebody with a worker's mindset or a worker executes instructions. Yes, that's why workers, that's why their monthly income is capped, is limited. Why? Because they execute on the instructions and they are paid within the instructions that they execute. But when you begin to think like an owner, owners create platforms where others can also either use the platforms to enjoy different things or to deliver results. So you create that particular platform, you see. And when you push that mindset shift from worker to owner, you begin to see your skill as capital. This is one of the most important breakthroughs if you are an employee. Can you see your skill as capital? Can you see it? I am telling you, the day I began to see my skills as capital, it changed a lot in the way I do things. Like, for example, list your top 5 skills. Can you see them as capital? Can you see them as capital? Can you begin to treat your skill as a seed for a sustainable business enterprise? That's the way to see your skill as capital. Don't just ignore it. You see, okay, let me give you an example. One of the academies I run, which is an enterprise now, is Workshop Facilitators Academy, right? And due to speaking, training, and consulting, I just developed the skill over time. Then I attended more training programs to become a good facilitator. Now, that skill, if I didn't have the mindset of owner, I will allow that skill and only get paid either when I organize a workshop or when another company or an event host organize workshops around my area of expertise, then they can pay me to do that. But because I know how to see every skill I have as capital, I was able to sit down and go through the process of converting that skill into an enterprise. And now it is a sustainable money-making enterprise. Whether I'm present or whether I'm absent, is working. It's a very important shift to have. That's why I said your skill is capital. And if you don't have the mindset that can enable you to see your skill as capital, you will have something that can give you millions, but you're struggling hand to mouth or you're literally unemployed. Your skill is capital. Come on, go ahead, type in the chat box, my skill is capital. Give me some feedback. Are you alive? Are you awake? Type in the chat box, my skill is capital. And if you begin to study your life, you begin to reveal how far you've come, you begin to see how much capital you have, how much capital that you command with your skill set. You see that it's very important to see it at that level. This is a very important mindset shift. If you can really receive and get what I'm trying to communicate to you. Okay. So that mindset shift from worker to owner is important. How can you begin to think beyond a paycheck? How can you begin to ask yourself, how can my skill generate equity and asset for me? How can my skill generate ownership for me? How can I own an institution with this skill? It's very important. Because if you're not thinking in terms of how I can own an institution with this skill, you are living below your own potential. So that is a first mindset shift from um, worker to owner. Now, the second mindset shift, which is important, is move from consumption to creation. There is a consumption mindset and there is a creation mindset. Like one of my philosophy, because there are many speakers or those who want to sell stuff to you, they say that salary is a bribe they give you to forget your dreams, right? My perspective is that salary is the seed that they give you to fund your dreams in the long run. Now, if you're going to be able to transition from salary to wealth creation, you need to shift your mindset from consumption to creation. How can you focus not only on earning to spend, but how can you use part of your earnings to build structures that can generate income, whether you're present or absent? It's a very important consciousness and decision to make. Okay, this is how much I make, that is good. But which part of this income will I set aside for the purpose of creating more value that can enable me to make more money? You see, because many people focus on earning and spending or consumption. Very few people think of, okay, what part of this can I use in building structures? Because wealth creation is about structures or systems that can generate more income consistently, whether you're present or absent. You see that? It could be as simple as, you know what, although my salary is limited, you see, part of my income will be that I'll buy certain types of books and study, which is a pathway to start building wealth. And another part of shifting from consumption to creation is to begin to think in terms of how can I organize my skills into products and services? Because consumers don't organize into products and services. Because consumers only buy, they don't sell. But creators, they sell, you see. So one thing that proves that you have moved from consumption to creation mentality is that you are not just buying everything. There are many people that, if you look at their lives, all they do is buy. They have nothing that somebody's buying from them. And they begin to wonder, why am I struggling financially? Of course, you're supposed to struggle because you are not selling anything. You're only consuming, right? That's what financially. But you're supposed to create value at a higher level so it can be paid more in a bigger company. That's another option to do that. You see, so it's a two-way dimension in terms of moving from consumption to creation. From consumption to creation is you do not spend all your earnings. How can you direct part of your earnings toward building a productive system that can enable you to make more money? Another dimension of moving from consumption to creation is apart from just being the person that I only consume, I buy services, I buy products, I eat them, I consume them, I buy TV, you buy internet, everything you're only buying. There is nothing leaving you to sell. And you begin to wonder, why am I broke? Why am I struggling financially? Come on, your lifestyle proves that you deserve to struggle financially, right? Until there's a shift. Until there is a shift. So instead of only buying or instead of only consuming, you need to begin to think and to push and to focus on how can I begin to produce solutions that others in my profession, even outside my profession, can pay for it. It changes a lot. Why? Because especially in this dispensation, it was not prevalent 100 years ago, 50 years ago. But in this perception, content driven generation, wealth flows to creators. Wealth flows to creators who can package services into, into assets that can generate continuous returns. That's where money is flowing to. So if you're not able to package your value, you're not able to package your services into asset. When I say asset, I'm talking about like a book is an asset. There's a book I wrote, 5 years ago. People say buy it today, it's an asset. So I still make money from it, right? So you package services into an asset that can generate continuous returns. It changes a lot of things. So I want to ask you, are you a consumer or are you a creator? It's very important to know, very important to understand this. Because if this mindset shift is not there, it's going to disturb you a lot in your wealth creation journey in your profession. Okay. The third mindset shift is one of my favorite, from survival to scalability. Now, many people who already have side gigs, passive income, or small business owners, they fall here. From survival to scalability. It's a very important mindset shift to have, especially for people that have started something small in terms of side hustle or a small business, right? Because having the belief that what you do daily can be expanded into something larger that can serve more people is very important. It's like it also creates an open heaven over you. I am telling you personally, for me, the day I believed, I know the day that I believed that what I was doing in Kumbo, in Bamenda, I can do the same thing across different nations. I know that day. But you see, the day I believed that, nothing changed. My finances did not change. But one thing that happens is that, you see, as the Bible says, as a man thinketh, because the state of your heart and your belief system is very important in attracting, opportunities to you. You see, so mindset shift that can push you to move from survival to scalability is very important. And you believe that what you currently do daily can be expanded into something larger that can serve more people. Can you believe it? Can you see it with the eyes of your mind? Because if you don't believe it, you don't see it, you will never in your life bother to look for platforms, opportunities, partnerships, whatever that can put you at that scale of creating impact at that level. Because the truth is, for me, the day I made that belief, it was the beginning of me looking for opportunities that I can use what I'm doing at a larger scale. And then they came. You get the perspective? It's like a magnet because it's a spiritual law in wealth creation also. It's very important. The mindset that you move from survival to scalability is important. The current thing that you're doing right now, do you believe, do you have that absolute belief and conviction that it can be expanded into something larger that can serve people across nations, across cities? Do you believe it? You see, can you be able to believe and begin to expand from individual service delivery to creating a platform that can serve hundreds of people or even thousands of people efficiently? Can you move from that survival to scalability? Because you cannot begin to think in terms of, oh, how can I move from what Joybert is doing to serve people individually, to start doing the same thing, to serve hundreds of people and thousands at the same time? You see, I can only begin to think like that if my mindset and my consciousness transitions from survival to scalability. Oh, how can I get one client today? How can I get one client today? How can I make just 100,000 today? You see, when survival, and as long as your mindset is at that level, you can never create or innovate or improve at a high level that can lead to scalability. This is one thing keeping many people in a small level, at a small level. I have done coaching and consultation one-on-one for close to 15 years today. So I see it firsthand. Like, do you know that sometimes let me say frustration, when somebody is talking to you and the person is talking and feeling broke, struggling, feeling worried, and as she's talking or he's talking, you are seeing that money and opportunities from what she has. Do you know that kind of frustration, right? So I see almost every day. And like, can you see this? Can't you see this? Can you see this? Can you see this? Why? Because, and also it's as a result of, culture, right? And the way many people are raised. We see, if you are raised in a humble family, humble background, one thing that you have to audit seriously is your mindset in terms of abundance, opportunities, and money. I'm telling you. Because the way your family raised you due to lack and financial difficulties, and maybe also the environment where you live in, can embed in you a serious survival mindset that you will hardly be able to have that scalability mindset in what you're doing. So others can look at it from the outside and see a scalable enterprise, but you will never see it. And as long as you cannot see it, you cannot execute it. As simple, you cannot execute it. You see. So being able to transition into that mindset that is a scalable mindset. How can you expand from individual service delivery into creating a platform, a structure, a system that you can serve hundreds and even thousands of people efficiently with the same skill or with the same thing that you do? Can you be able to push yourself to see at that level? Can you be able to see your ability to replicate your result through teams, recruiting people, or technology, or establishing a franchise service models? Can you see it at that level? Because scalability requires, processes that can run without you most of the times. It requires documents or you to structure your methods and what you do. But before you get to that level, your mindset must be thinking scalability. You must bring your mindset to that place where you're always asking, how can this service reach more people and I get paid from multiple sources? Can you constantly think at that level? How can this service, how can this skill reach more people with consistent quality and value, and I get paid from multiple sources? Can you think at that level? You see, it is important to begin to see it at that level. Okay? Now, the fourth mindset shift to have as we round up is the mindset shift of from employee to a steward of value. From employee to a steward of value. I said this briefly, but it's important to say clearly, because as long as you keep seeing yourself as I am somebody they pay to do this, do that, and then that's all, you have never seen yourself as I steward value that even nations can pay for. I steward value that even though I'm working in this company now, there is something I know I carry that other companies can hire me for because of this value I steward. Can you see yourself like that? Can you see yourself not only as a worker, but as someone who holds expertise that can be multiplied to impact different communities and even nations and industries? Do you see at that level? Again, because you only build strategy towards what you see. As simple as that. I do a lot of strategy for companies and individuals. If they don't tell me what they're seeing or what they want to achieve, I can never build anything for them. So it's the same for you as an individual person. You see, if you cannot begin to see that, hey, I am someone who holds expertise that can be multiplied across nations and cities and industries, you will never in your lifetime ever think of how can I create different strategies to be able to ensure that this thing I am seeing can begin to happen. So if you keep seeing yourself as an employee, you are so okay at that level year in, year out. But if you transition from, I am not just an employee, although at this stage of my life, I am working rather as an employee, but I know that I am not just an employee, I am a steward of value or a set of skills that I will multiply very soon to impact this set of people across these cities or across these nations or across these industries. Because this stewardship, my anchor is always the scriptures. Many of the things I teach, I actually see them in scriptures, right? So stewardship means recognizing your expertise, recognizing that your expertise is the asset that God entrusted to you for multiplication. So if you study the parable where Jesus shared about the 5 talents, 3 talents, 1 talent, right? You will see that when the master came back, he celebrated and recognized the one who multiplied the talent. So stewardship means that you recognize that your expertise that you have right now, that body of knowledge that you command right now in your industry is an asset entrusted to you. And the purpose of that is very important. The purpose of this entrustment is for multiplication, not for me to work in one company and be paid by one company once a month. It's because it's very important to have this revelation or this consciousness. And so this also enables God to open the platforms for you to be able to manifest a multiplication. You see? And when you begin to think as a steward of a skill, you will start investing that skill into structures that can yield more impact and financial benefits. You see that? How can I be able to invest this particular skill into a structure that can yield both financial impact and societal impact? Why? Because you're thinking like a steward. See, if this mindset are not in you, when I begin to share the practical money strategies after this or tomorrow, it will not do you any good because you don't even have the mindset that you can sit on and work on it. You will not have it. You see, now the last mindset shift, and that we are done for today, is the shift from income to wealth. The shift from income to wealth. Now, my thought is that your salary can sustain your life, but wealth is built by creating systems that go beyond daily labor, which can now sustain your legacy, can now sustain your purpose, can now sustain your mission on earth. It is difficult to sustain your purpose, mission, and legacy with a salary. But when you're able to build wealth by creating systems that go beyond their daily labor, you can even form the right kind of life for yourself. Right? Why? Because it's simple understanding and simple arithmetics or mathematics, right? Why? Income ends monthly. So every month income ends, right? And that's why there are some people that, as a result of the kind of income that they earn, before the month is ending, they're in debt. They have borrowed to survive or to live. You see, so if you are able to experience that major shift from income to wealth, you always have income that ends every month. As simple as that. But wealth has the ability to endure. It has the ability to always multiply because you have assets. There are systems that you own that create recurring cash flows consistently. You see, like I always say, it's only in business that you can go to bed today with a particular amount of money and you wake up in the morning with times 10 of that income. That's one thing I love about business. As an example, I run my different training programs and academies. So sometimes you go to bed today for a particular amount and then wake up tomorrow and let's say 5 people have bought your programs and you have a couple of thousands or hundreds of thousands that came in that you were sleeping. That can only happen if you are running a wealth creation system. Then with your salary, you cannot wake up in the morning and your boss will say, oh, I like you too much. Let me give you 2 months of your salary as a gift. I'll still pay you next month. Right? It doesn't work like that. Income ends every month. It is capped. It is limited. But wealth endures. Wealth is consistent through assets, through ownership, through system, through recurring cash flows. So to move from income to wealth, you start thinking in terms of how can I be able to turn today's salary into tomorrow's enterprise. And like I said, your salary is what they pay you to establish the seed that you can convert to an enterprise. You see, and you can do that by being able to reinvest into sustainable business models. You see, so every profession pays twice. You see, once as wages and then again as a wealth system. So the purpose of this mindset is to begin to see how can you begin to broaden your opportunity thinking in terms of how can I convert this my ordinary role, ordinary profession into a platform or a system that can be innovative and become an enterprise. You see, when you start thinking like this, if you're a teacher, start thinking of, you know what, how can I go from just being a classroom instructor to also being a content publisher? Okay, what various ways can I publish my content? You start seeing 5, 7, 3, 4 different ways to publish your content. And as you're delivering that value, you begin to see channels to begin to make money. You see, when you have this mindset, you begin to understand that, oh, this my industry holds multiple entry points. How can I broaden my perspective beyond the one role I have? How can I begin to seek opportunities in terms of the supply chain, distribution, technology, training? How can I begin to see different opportunities in order to be the wealth creator and not just a consumer? You see that? Or let's say as a nurse, you see, many nurses see themselves only as a nurse that can be paid at the end of the month. Nothing wrong with that, right? But a nurse who has or who has developed these mindsets, he or she does not only see herself as a hospital staff. She begins to see herself as part of a larger healthcare economy, part of a larger healthcare industry. And with this mindset, she begins to notice opportunities, let's say, in home care, in wellness centers, in establishing a specialized clinics, in selling, in starting a buying and selling system that can buy, medical equipment and research. She begins to see different entry points to be part of that economy and be able to make some more money and create wealth. Okay? So I want to challenge you. Let these mindsets bring you into a place where you're going to think deep about your profession. Think deep about what you studied in school. There's a lot of value in it. Whether you studied history, literature, it doesn't matter. You just need to have the right knowledge and mindset to convert it. Okay? So ponder on this. Tomorrow, same time, we're going to look on the next element in this framework to act with days that can just blow you up if you apply what you learn. All right. Was this impactful for you? Give me some feedback. I can take 2 questions and answer for 5 minutes maximum, and then we're done. All right. Was this helpful for you? Give me some feedback. All right. Happy to see that. So please start. I want to challenge you. I will share the link of this back in the chat box so that you guys go through. Because if you don't try to really ponder on this, right? I want to challenge you guys. There's something I like to do. I like to sometimes just take a walk and I'm just pondering on things regarding on how I can improve systems and how I make money, right? It's very important. It's very important. Okay. So get these things that we have shared today. Try to do integrations in what they're currently doing. There are so many opportunities that if you can embed these things into, you'll be so amazed at how much more you can be able to achieve. Okay. All right. Any question for me? Raise up your hand or you can type in the chat box. I will happily respond to the question. Any question for me? All right. If there are no questions, it means I had very good students, good participants. All right, no questions. So we meet tomorrow same time, 4 a.m. Cameroon time for part 2 of this. I'll share the second element. You up to this one, you'll be able to have a broader perspective and have key action steps that you can take and be able to build something incredible. All right, people, keep building. Don't relent. Like I always say, if you sit under a training like this and you don't apply what you learn, you were entertained. You are not transformed, all right? But if you pick what you learn and apply it, then you are transformed and will see the results that you will create. See you tomorrow, same time, 4 a.m. GMT plus 1, for those who are not Cameroonians, GMT plus 1. That's our time.